Hello everybody, welcome back to Season 2 of Giro d'Italia, a little trip around Italy that I made, although as I say a little trip, it's actually turned into several big trips and several zines and thousands of photos and all that kind of thing, so it's not really that little, is it? Anyway, hopefully you enjoyed Season 1, thought I'd do a second season because I did a second trip, so let's get into it, shall we? This first image is of a giant weird apple thing with, I assume, stitched things around the front of it. It's a big statue. It is clearly one of the first images I took on my landing into Milan, because this is outside Milano Centrale Stazione, which is the train station that I ended up in after I got off the plane and took the train into the city centre. As you can probably also tell from the image and what the guy is wearing, it was absolutely hammering down. It rained for the vast majority of the time that I was in Italy this time around. Made for some quite depressing photos, if I'm perfectly honest, so apologies straight away for that. This one, I obviously took it because it's just an interesting looking object. I didn't know what on earth to make of it. I just thought, that'll make an interesting photo, so that's what I've done here. Okay, like I said, it rained an awful lot. As you can tell by here, it was still raining when I took this photo. We got wet ground and we've got people with umbrellas. One good thing about the rain, I suppose, is that it does make for some lovely reflections. We haven't got that many in here, if I'm perfectly honest with you, but we do have some reflection of the light of the building on the left hand side, in the puddles on the cobblestones. Also, I suppose the wetness of the cobblestones gives it a little bit of a texture to the image. It doesn't just look like a blank 2D image, does it? It gives a little bit of a pop, a little bit of something there. I also like the fact that umbrella is bright red. It gives a bit of colour to an otherwise dull image. Now, I think the reason I took this photograph is purely because, well, look at that in the background. That's the cathedral in the centre of Milan. For some reason, I thought what would be a great image is a picture of some roadblocks so that you can't get close to it. One thing I will point out as well is not only did it rain the entire time that I was in Milan, I mean the entire 3 days I was in Milan, it absolutely hammered down. There was also a lot of roadblocks and things blocked off for public events. In fact, in a later image that I'll probably not show you for a few episodes, but spoiler alert, there was a fun run going on and the finish line was outside the cathedral, so I couldn't go into the cathedral like I wanted to. I will say I do plan these things, but sometimes plans get thrown out the window, as you can probably imagine. So yeah, here we've got just another street image. The reflections haven't worked quite so well this time. They're more kind of shadowy, I would say. You can see on the two people walking away, sort of central to the image, on the reflection of the cobbles on the left there. Literally no reflections whatsoever on the right. A little bit in the middle. You can see a little bit of the building, sort of the central window of the building reflecting in the very middle of the image on the cobblestones. You have to struggle to see it though. This isn't very interesting, is it? If I'm honest with you, it's quite dull, it's quite flat, but I mean, it was peeing down the entire time I was there, so give me a break. One of the few parts of Milan where it wasn't raining because it was indoors. This is the very famous shopping arcade that is literally right next to the cathedral. It is beautiful inside, architecturally. The giant glass domes above you, the floor is gorgeous. It's obviously a very, very expensive place to purchase things from. I can't remember exactly which fashion houses they were, but I'm sure it's something like Gucci and Armani, literally opposite each other. Into the centre of this image, the kind of, we can see the bits jutting out on the left and right, just to the side of the archway in the distance. Pretty sure one of those was Gucci, pretty sure one of the others was Armani, and I'm pretty sure those are their flagship stores. So yeah, Milan's got a reputation for being fashion capital of Europe, and it kind of shows in this kind of place. Architecturally, like I said, beautiful, stunning inside, bright, lovely to take photographs in. Unfortunately, very, very busy because it was one of the few dry areas in the area, so loads of people were in here, and it was just a bit too crowded, hence why this image is very, very crowded. I don't like crowded street images. I'm the best at times, so I'm quite disappointed with how a lot of these turned out. Let's just say this was my first day in Milan. I just went out and I just shot some pictures, and I am going to be brutally honest, the vast majority are garbage. I promise they'll get better as this series goes on, but yeah, they were pretty garbage the first day out. It was wet, it was miserable, I was unhappy. Nice photograph of car. Unfortunately, I've managed to not get it completely in focus because you can't read the word Pirelli on the front of the bumper there. What an idiot I am. I'm too close as well. Again, it is so crowded. I just wanted a nice picture of this car and it's just so crowded I couldn't get one. Oh, so disappointing. This is a little bit better, I think. It is still crowded. There is a lot of people around. But the focus, if you look to the right, the focus is very, very pinpoint on that lady in the red coat stopping, looking at her phone. Everybody else kind of rushing past, and it's just sort of, this lady just stood there looking at her phone. Yeah, I don't think that was intentional. Now I look at it though, I'm happy that's come out like that. But yeah, if anything, this image just shows this is a busy city rather than anything interesting. It is quite odd that woman has a number 2 stuck on her back though. I think there was a tour going on, but I don't know what that's about. Here we've got one of my old favourites, rower bicycles. I seem to gravitate towards taking pictures of bicycles no matter where I am. I don't do it intentionally. I just, a lot of the time, find that they're quite colourful, they're quite vibrant. I just seem to like the shape of them, and a lot of the time they tend to be either reflected in puddles or reflected in something, or they're stood perpendicular to some sort of leading lines and whatever, or in this case there's a lot of them in a row and you get a nice bit of repetition. So yeah, I quite like this image. It's alright. I guess the bright colour of the bikes sort of sticks out against the drab, rainy kind of environment that you can see around. I mean, if you look in the distance, the bikes literally are leading as a line towards someone who stood with an umbrella in the far distance there. So yeah, you can tell it is raining. Crap. That's all I'll say about this image. It's crap, innit? I'm not quite sure what I was thinking here. I'm obviously trying to take a picture of this particular building, this church of some kind, but there's a statue in the way that I've managed to cut the bottom off of. Most of the building has been cut off at the bottom as well. It's very uninteresting. The sky is just blown out to hell, and yeah, this is rubbish. Not too pleased about this image either, to be perfectly honest with you. Again, it's just a photograph of a statue. Again, you can clearly see it's a rainy day. There's lots of people around with umbrellas, people hanging about. Unfortunately, I've managed to cut off the feet of the people sort of towards the bottom. I think this would have worked better if I'd had less of the sky involved and maybe more of the foreground of these people. You can see then the difference of like size of the statue and the buildings around compared to how small the people seem then, and probably could have made the statue the focus of the image, but a little bit more interesting with things going on around it, because at the end of the day it's just a statue and there's a million of them and an awful lot of them look like this. So this is one of the most famous buildings in the world. This is the cathedral in the very centre of Milan, the Duomo, although to be fair, Duomo is a word used for every single cathedral, so it's not the Duomo, it's Duomo di Milano. It's really, really interesting. Unfortunately, because I'm shooting with a 50mm equivalent focal length here on my Yashica, it's a bit squished in. Again, it's really, really busy, even though it's absolutely hammering down at this point. I'm soaking wet at this point. Again, umbrellas everywhere, but it looks damp. It's way more than damp. It's absolutely hammering down. It's a bit of a disappointing image, I would say. I'm sure there are a billion photographs that have been taken of this building that are far more interesting and far better composed than what I've managed to do here, but I'm in a rush because I'm getting very, very wet at this point. I don't really know what this is. We're ending on a really I don't know. We're ending on a really poor image, let's put it that way. So I'm obviously trying to take a photograph of the Italian flag there and the European Union flag on the top of this building. I don't remember what this building is, I don't know what it is, and I've managed to capture it so that one flag looks fine, the other one is really rubbish and you can't actually tell what flag that is. It is the Italian flag. It just seems to be a bit vertical rather than horizontal as it's meant to be, so there we go. What does it say on there? Oh, that's just a date. That's just a date of some kind. I can't read that. My eyes are terrible. Yeah, this isn't good at all, is it? I mean, you can literally see to the left. There's some statuary to the left. There's obviously repetition and symmetry of it on the right-hand side, but I've managed to cut it off. I don't really know what I'm doing here, do I? So, apologies. Apologies that the final image in this set is garbage. If this doesn't make you want to come back for more, I don't know what will. So, yeah, there will be more of these. I promise they get better. I swear they get better. So yeah, tune into the next few episodes, and hopefully I'll have something that keeps your interest a bit better than this one does. So thanks for everything. Subscribe and all that rubbish as usual as well. Thanks very much. Bye bye.